In this video, we will talk about propositions. So I want to begin with a definition which says that a proposition is what I'll call a declarative sentence. So let me specify what we mean by that. So by declarative sentence, I mean that this is going to declare a fact, something that that has some underlying truth value. So it's either true or false, but it's not both. Okay, so let's do an example where we test some sentences to see if they're propositions or not. Okay, so I have these sentences labeled with letters. So for example, sentence R is the sentence that says LeBron James plays basketball. So this is declaring something that's either true or false, namely that LeBron James plays basketball. So it is declarative. And this sentence happens to be true because LeBron James does play basketball. He's a famous basketball player. So it is true. Alrighty, so that makes this a proposition. It is a proposition, so I'll put a smiley face, so we're happy about that. Let's move on to sentence S, which says all students live in dorms. So even without knowing whether this is true or false, this is declaring something that has an underlying truth value, whether it's true or false. So it is declarative. This sentence happens to be false. Not all students live in the dorms. Some students may live off campus, for example. Some students may commute to school or maybe doing online school. So this happens to be a false sentence, but still it is a proposition because it is declarative and it has this underlying truth value. This one happens to be false, but that's fine as long as it's not both. Okay, what about sentence T, which asks, where is Carmen? So this one's different. This sentence isn't declarative. When I look at it, I can't just ask, is this true or false? That doesn't really make sense because it's a question. So this is not declarative. It wouldn't make sense to say something like, well, where is Carmen? That sentence is true. So it's not declarative. That makes this not a proposition. So I will put a sad face on this one. Okay, what about U, which says, sit down, exclamation point. So with this sentence as well, it doesn't have an underlying truth value. It doesn't make sense to say, oh, sit down, that's true, or sit down, that's false. So this is not declarative. A declarative sentence would declare some fact that has an underlying truth value, either true or false, but this doesn't. So this is also not a proposition. Not a proposition. All right, let's do a couple more of these. Sentence V says 4 plus 5 equals 9. So this sentence is declaring some fact. It's saying 4 plus 5 is equal to 9. That happens to be a true statement. And that means this is a proposition. It is a declarative fact and it has an underlying truth value, either true or false, but not both. Alrighty, what about W, which says x plus 5 equals 9? So this is still declaring something. It's saying x plus 5 is equal to 9. It is declarative in nature. Alrighty, but this sentence, sometimes it's true, sometimes it's false. It depends on what x is. So I can't just definitively say, oh, this is always true, or this is always false. So this is neither true nor false. Because for it to be true, for me to say it's true, it would always have to be true. And for me to say it's false, it would always have to be false. But I can't say that definitively about this sentence. So this doesn't satisfy the second thing that I need for something to be a proposition. It doesn't just have one exclusive truth value. Okay, so this is not going to be a proposition. Not a prop. All right, what about w prime? So the last one. This one says x plus 5y equals 5y plus x. So when I switch the order, when we add these two numbers, it's the same, where x and y are real numbers. So this is declaring some fact. And is that fact true? Well, yeah. If I add two numbers like x and 5y, and then I switch their order and add them, it'll give me the same thing. So that makes this a proposition as well. Alrighty, so hopefully after doing that example, we have a better feel for what makes things propositions and what makes things not be propositions. So I want to end this video with a little bit of notation. So if a proposition is true, we will denote that by writing. So we will write a capital T. And on the flip side, if a proposition is false, we will write a capital F. So sometimes there's another notation that we use instead of capital F. Sometimes it is written as an upside down capital T. The main reason for that is just efficiency, maybe a little bit of laziness, because an upside down T just requires you make 1, 2 sort of strokes of the pencil. Whereas an F means you have to make 1, 2, 3 strokes of the pencil. So it saves a little bit of time to be just drawing an upside down T as opposed to an F. Alrighty, so in terms of our goals for this section, we finished our first goal to define what propositions are. In the next video, we'll start to talk about how we can combine propositions using what are called operators.